TV umpire to director, we have a player review. Can we rock and roll, please?
Hello, friends. Welcome to episode 137 of Bits and Pieces, the world's friendliest cricket podcast. We had two takes on 136. Both of them were in the proverbial Madras Stadium, and in both of them, despite Sachin's 136, India lost. My guests for today are two luminaries of our WhatsApp group. Both of them have graduated to a very high level of causing Kalesh. Prashant DP and Adi are here with you today. I'm going to put forth a question right up front. What is 137 for Sachin if 136 was Chennai 1999? Yeah.
137 would have represented his every wish on the night after. He would have wished
What,
that
one run more, India would have still lost.
Macha, 137 not out. 137 not
No,
out.
137
Not out.
Okay, no, it's a simpler answer. 137 was another Tendulkar century in a losing cause. Delhi 1996, when he scored 137 of 137 balls. And then our greatest off spinner ever, Manoj Prabhakar, got smashed to all parts of the ground.
This is a very silly game because basically every number from 1 to 200 represents a Tendulkar losing score. Okay. So.
Okay. Sari. So on that note, the first thing we can start is probably this tied ODI in the India Sri Lanka match, where all of us were a little confused. All of us, by all of us, I mean like some 5-10 people who were watching it, because who watches India versus Sri Lanka, were confused about the fact that, nobody even like spoke of a super over or anything like that. And then later it was revealed that it was actually a fault by the umpires, by the match referee and everyone else in not conducting a super over.
Because they were also not watching the match. Because they were also not watching the match.
Or was any of them stuck in a
They were
lift?
like, Abada, match got over. Let's go. Bye.
It's like nobody's watching. Let's go. Let's put some lion beer and chill out. Who the fuck cares about super over and all of them? And just before that, so Ranjan Madugale is the match referee for this series. Like, I don't know if they can get any other match referee in Sri Lanka. Like, he's sometimes they put like a figurehead of Ranjan Madugale, and he was celebrated a few days ago saying, so many matches, 20, 30 years completed, 500 matches completed as match referee. And then after all of this, he's like forgetting to conduct super over.
Oh my goodness.
Reminds me of, the famous thing. So in Dilbert comics, they have this concept called the Peter principle, where basically they say that every person rises to his level of incompetence.
Highest level of incompetence. Yeah.
So I don't know how many, like this, how many people does it take to change a light bulb? You had Joel Wilson, Ravindra Vimalsari, the on-field umpires, Ranjan Madukale, Paul Rifle, fourth umpire Ruchira Palaya Guruge, and they say, I'm quoting the ESPN article, they internally acknowledged having misinterpreted the ODI playing conditions. What is this internally acknowledged? Come on.
Basically what they're saying is this is our internal matter. You cannot comment.
I think the only person missing from this misinterpretation scene was Kumara Dharmasena, who would have been completely at home in Sri Lanka and, misrepresenting the laws. And
but the point is it would not have even gone to a super over if he was there, because he'd have awarded 1 run extra or one run less. After that final, the guy, I remember, I don't know if he actually said this, but I remember reading somewhere where he said, yeah, I got it wrong, but I don't feel any regret at all. Which I thought was bloody awesome.
Yeah, amazing. On that note, the other super over that happened, which was not an over, it was 5/6 of an over, was in the 100. Did any of you manage to catch it? I don't even know what stage of the tournament it is, but it seems to be like the last stage of the tournament.
Eliminators, yeah, that's what's happening now.
Okay. So there we had a super over, which was supposedly the first, super 5 in the history of the 100, in the short history of the 100. And there, I think it was a damn squib of a super over. But the most interesting thing was that, like, I am making the mistake again and again of calling it a super over when it was actually a super five, was the fact that Michael Atherton, who was on comms and who's supposed to be, like, not even putting a word or a comma from here to there by mistake, he kept referring to that stage of the match as a super over and kept correcting himself that it was a super five. And yeah, interesting match. I think Jofra Archer is kind of back in full flow. He delivered some absolutely searing stuff to Moin Tata in particular, who was all at sea against his pace bowling. That was good to see. But otherwise, I think, like, they're not really putting in a lot of runs in this year's 100 competition. I don't know if that's because of the pitches or something else, but this was just 126 defeated 126 after the super over, of course. So, and the match also didn't seem like particularly well attended. And now there is, talk of Indian IPL teams buying into the 100 franchisees, and then you could very well have Mumbai Indians, London Spirit, करके some name soon in the 100. I don't know how or what that means for this tournament. Essentially, yeah, IPL is kind of taking over the world.
The first time when they will taking over non-T20, because it's not a T20, it's a 100, right? But but I'm assuming that doesn't really matter. So it's just another franchise league, and they're okay with just putting in money.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems the tournament's been around for a while and all that. But I'm just confused. So apart from the fact that a 6-ball over is now a 5-ball 5, there is no change to the format, right? I mean, you still have the same fielding restrictions. You still have the same everything.
Honestly, I mean, I would love to give you an answer, but I haven't watched enough of it to know whether things have changed. And I think there was one
that's allowed
major...
that a bowler can bowl 2 consecutive, like he can bowl 10 balls on the dot.
Yeah, wow. That's allowed. And the odd thing that happened recently, I think it was one of the Curran brothers, Sam Curran or Tom Curran. I think Sam Curran, who picked up a hat trick. But that hat trick was across 2 sets of 5.
Oh, so cool.
Which meant that he was bowling from one end and he picked up a wicket, and then he was bowling from the other end and he picked up 2 more wickets. So it was one of those very, very odd hat tricks. I don't know if it's ever been done earlier, where same bowler across 2 ends is picking up a hat trick. It's obviously been done earlier when, you take hat tricks across 2 overs, and I think Merv Hughes has a hat trick across 3 overs. But between those 2 balls from opposite ends, there was no other bowler bowling, which I don't know if it's ever happened in like first class cricket or not, but that was something quite randomly interesting. Nobody cares for it, of course, but I mean, that's just one thing that randomly happened.
The only thing which stood out from the 100 was obviously Ben Stokes getting injured, which makes me wonder, why is he playing this format? Because again, the parallel I can see is with Cricket Australia, but they do it a bit differently, because the Big Bash, what happens is it kind of starts in the middle of summer to coincide with the school holidays, and it ends in January. So what happens is they ensure that obviously the top players play all the test matches in summer. After the Sydney test, because it's still 2.5 weeks, then they say, okay, fine. If Steve Smith, Usman Khawaja, or Hazelwood want to play, they can play. So that way, it's not like they're going to be, not playing any test cricket or get injured. Whereas I found them doing very strange things with Ben Stokes and even Gus Atkinson, though he played only 1 game, like getting them to play it. Gus Atkinson luckily is not injured and he'll play the test against Sri Lanka. But I don't know what they were thinking having Ben Stokes playing for one of those teams.
Yeah, I think he's playing for the team that's coached by Flintoff. But yeah, I mean, quite odd. But it's almost like, the 100 is where they've put in all their bets. Like they're all in on the 100. And that's why they're trying to get as many games for the marquee names as possible. and obviously it's not something that's kind of worked out well. So Jamie Smith, who was their wicketkeeper, England's wicketkeeper in the last Test series, he's playing. Ben Stokes obviously played and then had that horrific hamstring injury. He was not even able to go out of the ground on his own, and he's now ruled out of the summer, which means that Ollie Pope has been, what is the verb that's used? Has been christened as the new Pope, and there's white smoke that's come out of the Vatican because he's the new captain for England, and that's for the series against Sri Lanka for sure. And who knows, maybe even after that.
Nice.
And on that, they've named Ian Bell the Sri Lanka's batting coach for this upcoming tour.
Oh, Ian Bell is Sri Lanka's batting coach.
Yeah, I'm just seeing that in Cricinfo. Yeah.
Oh wow.
I'm just reading it. So since his retirement, he's been working a fair bit as a coach. So he's done work with the England's men under 19, England Lions, Hobart Hurricanes, consultant batting coach at Derbyshire, assistant coach of the New Zealand men's side before the 2023 Cricket World Cup. Did you guys know that? The ODI World Cup? He was the assistant batting coach for them. And then recently, he's been doing work with the Renegades in the BBL and also assistant coach of the Birmingham Phoenix in the men's 100. Yeah, wow. It's fascinating.
Wow.
Okay.
We have Murli Sadgopan from the European Cricket Network also joining us.
Hello.
We had the option of declaring him timed out, but we are not. Sri Lanka or Bangladesh? Sri Lanka. They're not that kind of pot.
Yeah.
Not Bangladesh.
We believe very strongly in the spirit of cricket.
Absolutely.
Yeah, spirit of cricket.
Cricket podcasting. Thank you guys for continuing to honor that tradition and having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
And also, while Murli is there also, I like this nice bit which I've been looking forward to is Sri Lanka has raised security concerns about the England test due to UK rights. So it's wonderful to see the shoe on the other foot and also remember what happened in the 96 World Cup and all the hullabaloo about security. So guys, thoughts on things coming full circle?
No, so I would have loved it actually if they had literally paraphrased Mark Taylor's quote from 96. Like that would have been the ultimate nib, saying that.
What is the quote?
So Mike Marquez actually writes about it. Hang on, I can. If you give me a second, I'll pull up the actual quote. So something about how in our part of the world we are not used to these kinds of things, and death and bombs might be an everyday occurrence for you guys, but we actually care for our lives and we our families are wonderful.
And I think that happened a few months before the Port Arthur massacre in Tasmania, right? I think he mentions that in the article.
Yeah.
So that was so. I mean, I'm sure our listeners will know it, but after that Port Arthur massacre in Tasmania, Australia kind of pretty much banned people from owning guns. So that was kind of like of a seminal event here. Now only people who live in rural towns can own it because of the problem with the wild animals coming and eating your crops and things like that. But in general, like in a city and stuff, people don't have firearms anymore. So yeah, I think it's a good throwback to Mark Taylor's famous comment from the World
96. Even before the 2005 Ashes, I think there was an IRA bomb that went off
in the tube stations.
Yeah, in London. Yeah. And that time also. So, I mean, obviously there is a great deal of xenophobia, ignorance, and to a large extent hypocrisy about these things. So, yeah, good on Sri Lanka for pointing it out, even if they were just nibbing. I mean, I completely appreciate it.
Yeah, only thing is, I would have wanted like the nibbing to continue for a little longer and for some players to give out some statement saying, "Arey, matlab, are you sure? Like we don't want to play here, we want to play here, move this test here."
Achha, not only that, we will send our security expert. It is not enough. It is not enough if you guys say that we will be safe. We will send our policeman, he will check everything and only then we will travel.
And also they can say, as a country, like, we have faced this attack in Pakistan, etc. So we've already experienced it. Like we can't risk our players. Correct. So we've got to do the security protocols.
I mean, it is one thing to experience it in the subcontinent, but in this part of the world,
exactly.
It is.
Because
maybe
do you guys
they
even
could
know
have.
how to handle such things? Like the subcontinent is almost like a way of life, right? We know how to manage it. Don't worry, you guys will be all right. But for you guys, it is a completely new thing. Wow, riots. Okay, this is how it works.
Or maybe they could have, on behalf of the subcontinent, they could have signed like a quid pro quo deal saying that, okay, we'll come. Don't worry about security and all. But maybe can you play Bangladesh in a 3-test series? You haven't done that for a long time. Can you host them for a 3-test series? Something like that. Some shady side deal.
And also, can you make Russell Arnold a permanent part of the Sky commentary team across all formats, all teams?
That would have been.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, by the way, Kumara Sangakkara, lone man standing for the white ball coach job for England, because everyone else who they wanted to sort of angle for has said that I'm earning so much more as like an IPL coach or some T20 league coach. And Josh Butler, who's still the white ball captain, has obviously worked with Sangakkara in Rajasthan Royals, so they're angling for him. I mean, the accent, of course, is going to be a big help for Sangakkara. I don't know when was the last time he sounded remotely Sri Lankan.
When he
And
was in
I
Sri
think
Lanka,
he's moved.
when he was in Sri Lanka. So basically, it's like those movies, no? You choose the subtitles on Netflix, right? With Sangakkara, the accent filter works that way. I'm in Sri Lanka now, I will sound Sri Lankan. I'm in England, I'll sound English. I'm in Australia, I'll sound Australian. So in that sense, he is the complete antithesis of Russell Arnold, who sounds the same everywhere.
You got to hand it to the man for consistency, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the funny part is, Russell Arnold actually lives in Melbourne.
Yeah, he's polluting the airwaves across the world. So Sangakkara has played quite a bit of club cricket this summer, where also sadly Sanju Samson was not there in the team, but his bats went there apparently. He played with loaned bats from Sanju Samson, and he's moved his base to Dorset, and that's why they're considering him quite seriously. But even he may not want the job because he has a very nice commentary gig with Sky. He's been doing commentary in the 100 also, I think. Definitely did it in the West Indies England series. And then, 2-3 months in a year, you coach Rajasthan Royals, where anyway there is like not much pressure to win. It's only about supporting young Indian cricketers like Sanju Samson and
Yashasvi Jaiswal.
Yashasvi Jaiswal.
Yeah,
Another
but,
young cricketer, Joe Root. So it's fine. He can do the job, I think.
But Chops, if I understand the chronology, Virat Kohli also has moved base to London. He is also soon to retire from one-day cricket. So you know where I'm going with this. So is Sangha keeping the seat warm for Virat to eventually take up the coach role of the England men's cricket team?
I mean, then he will actually be saying Ben Stokes, and we will repeat it as something else.
Ben Stokes to work with Ben Stokes.
As amazing as the combination would be, and something that England testing desperately needs outside England, it would be a cardinal sin for Virat to take all of that and coach England with it. England, if they go fired up and go huddle in some Bangladesh camp and they go, let's give them like 2 hours of hell, they should never be able to breathe again and all. I can't tolerate that shit. Not Virat coaching. Not to England. No,
so just
not
continuing on with Sri Lanka. So there's obviously the interesting news coming out of the Lankan Premier League. So our friend Niroshan Dikwella, to clarify, Niroshan Dikwella, not De Silva. So he was apparently caught or failed a doping test during the finals or during the tournament, etc. Again, I hope the samples were not mixed up and it was his and not De Silva's. And apparently this guy is some serial offender. I was reading the article, like he's apparently fluffed a lot of tests and his general off the field behavior has been pretty suspect. So it's a bit disappointing. But so I thought that was a final note on this whole Sri Lanka.
If you are disappointed by Dikwella, the fault is yours, not Dikwella's. Because Niroshan Dikwella is the most colorful character possible. Okay, he is basically Loki.
No.
if Loki was
I'm disappointed that because of his off-field behavior, we don't get to see the colorful bits on-field. That is the larger disappointment.
I think
but
playing for cash only was his nib, no?
Yes.
yeah.
And he had this previous record of, what was it? A guy who's played the most tests without scoring 100, right? Wasn't that him?
Yeah. At some point, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, at a minimum, I think minimum of 25 tests or whatever.
One of the things that happened was that he was actually the captain of one of the teams in this year's LPL.
LPL.
So I don't know if it's a team thing or if it's an individual thing. Maybe they are going to still test the other guys. You watch him play, and we've obviously watched him wicket keep for so many years and bat in the most brain dead manner. It's only a little bit of a surprise that the doping violation has been caught now. Like, how was he not high in all of those years?
Too many false positives.
They saw him play, and one fine day they're like, man, this guy could be on something. Let's ask him to do some little susu in some test tube and see what is there. And they're like, yeah, we were like right all along to suspect him of being on to something, like some seriously good stuff. I mean, obviously these things are not revealed and all. When you hear doping in the Olympics, it's like nandrolone or some chemical that even Nittu, who was doing his chemistry notes and making super selector teams, etc., he won't be able to remember those. But this would be like ganja, like
laughing
just
gas.
pure simple
Laughing gas. Laughing.
Not performance enhancing. It's not like enhancing.
It is
anything
entertainment
at all.
enhancing.
It's just
And
entertainment
opposition nipping. Yeah.
But my question is, when you make biopics, why do you choose people like bloody MS Dhoni and Sachin Tendulkar? You should bloody pick Niroshan Dikwela, man. That would be a movie I would watch.
Yeah, it'll be one of those films which is, what is it called? Adi would know this. Like one of those films which you struggle to put in a genre, right? Like there's stuff happening on all sides, in all fronts, and like you don't know whether it's a tragedy, whether it's horror, whether it's comedy. It's going to be one of those genre-defining movies if they ever make a film on him.
Avesham.
Which is just Avesham. Yeah, exactly. Or anything with Fahad Fasil.
So we are now plugging Mallu movies in all podcasts.
No, does Niroshan Dikwela play for Sri Lanka, first of all?
Adappavi, of course, da.
No, he played. He played and all. That much I know. It is not a live kind of question. Is he a regular feature in the national side?
He's dropped off for a while.
Sri Lankan national team itself is not a regular feature in the world cricket calendar. Okay?
You remember this team from India that went and lost to them now? Month. We said every big dog, there is the future England cricket coach and all, we sent to them and they went and lost in game.
Continuing with the vein of surprising news on the subcontinental teams, so Bangladesh is obviously going to be touring Pakistan for the Test series. So their cricket team has complained to their local management that the slow internet in Pakistan is causing them inconvenience by talking to their families back home.
Oh my goodness.
In response, one Pakistani journalist, lol, okay, and shows your internet speed is 69 Mbps. And then, it becomes the classic India-Pakistan Reddit forum where there's some shit being thrown by Bangladeshi and Pakistani fans at each other's internet speeds.
Goodness.
On that series, there was an interesting thing I read. Apparently, the first test, which is happening in Rawalpindi, Pakistan is going for an all-pace attack, which they haven't done for quite some time. So Abrar has been released. And then the couple of other guys who bowled in the Australia series. So it's interesting that a home test in Pakistan with no spinner, which maybe is a good thing, because I hope this at least leads them to making decent pitches where it's not like, the Grand Trunk Road where you just come there and, 500V, 600V, 700V, 350, right? So hopefully, I don't know whether this is a Gillespie thing wherein he's trying to make it more result oriented, but whatever it is, it's nice to see.
Jason Gillespie is the
coach. Yeah. Hopefully, nice to see 5 Pakistani fast bowlers tearing away and causing some mayhem in the Test series. I'm actually looking forward to that. Actually, I enjoy watching Test cricket in Pakistan.
I mean, that is very. What is the word for it? Like, I don't know how to describe that statement in watching Test cricket in Pakistan.
It is a statement that only 15 people in the world would. agree with that.
Yeah, it's like not even
Okay,
not
let's
even Pakistan is
replace.
injured.
It's definitely better than watching it in the UAE when they were playing in the UAE, which
Yeah,
was I
that
felt bad
is
for them. At least
Yeah.
Pakistan for whatever. I mean, I know the pitches haven't been the greatest. It's still grounds and all of that have some kind of history and all of that. So
And
No,
I
but
think I think what they've also done, I don't know how much faith they are placing in this Pindi pitch. Apparently, Karachi was being reconstructed, or parts of the stadium were being
yeah,
reconstructed. The earlier news was like this. This is how a Pakistan Test series should be, right?
correct,
Like the ball has not been bowled even once, but there is
correct,
all sorts of news. There is like a new
correct.
coach. Then obviously Bangladesh has come
Internet.
early because the situation in Bangladesh is a problem. But when they've come early, internet is a problem.
Correct.
Then you have a four pacer attack for Pakistan, and it's like four pacer attack. Okay, what are your spinners doing? They've been released to play for the Shaheens, which is their A team. It's not like injury and everything. Released to play in some A tournament or something. And I think they still have like an all-rounder in their midst who did pretty well in Pakistan. Yeah, the other thing that's happened is Pindi pictures have been released, the pitch pictures, and it's supposed to be quite green. I don't know if they plan to shave off some of the grass or not. But the second test, which was going to be in Karachi, has been cancelled now, and they're going to play both tests at Pindi,
Now,
which
yeah.
means you could have four pace attack twice.
I like the optimism of the PCB, right? Because after they host Bangladesh, England is visiting them. So on that subject, the PCB said at this stage we would not like to speculate on the hosting of the second test in Karachi between England and Pakistan from 15th to 19th October. I love the optimism of these chaps. They are now almost in the end of August. The World Cup, the Champions Trophy is in February, but they think no, by October we can still play England in Karachi.
Acha,
I just love the optimism.
No, so 1 second. If you love that optimism, what would you say about planning a test in Dharmasala? Okay, there is snow everywhere, and you're like, no, it's okay, we're good to go. And then nothing is happening. The series has actually started, and only then you decide that you're going to shift venue. So, yeah.
See, this time also, I think Dharamshala, some match was supposed to be there,
Correct. It's
no
been
home
shifted
season, and they've moved it to Gwalior.
Gwalior.
But the list A games are happening, right? I could see that there are other games happening for at
No.
least
So
the
the issue in Dharamshala now is a changing room. I mean the players' pavilion.
Oh yeah, I remember this joke.
Yeah.
They're like, where will I change my chaddi? Otherwise, I don't wear correct items. I do not bat like 100 minutes like that. If I wear red color inside, it never works. Ball never meets bat. It's only white color.
Also on test venues, I know India normally likes to play at least every series will have two tests at least in venues which are not that popular for test cricket. But for New Zealand, when they're coming in October, why are we giving the nice guys Bangalore, Pune and Bombay? I mean, why this sudden awakening of conscience to play them in test venues? Not even one what you would call non-traditional test center. They've got Pune, Bangalore and Bombay, which is pretty solid.
Yeah, no, Pune Stadium is crapped. I don't know if you've ever.
No, but when I say
like
crap, at least like you would call a city where you wouldn't mind being. Right? Imagine the England guys having to play in Ahmedabad, at Tri-State, 2 tests back to back. Yeah, you feel for them. But okay, Pune still has city comforts, creature comforts, not too bad.
I think this is the round robin that's coming into effect, the one that Virat Kohli constantly keeps talking about, right? It's just state associations flexing their muscle. Whoever has highest muscle, in our case, belly, who can talk the loudest and put their thoughts in and force will get. So even if like literally the quality of ground has no say in what you have to do, to the point where if I flexed it hard enough, lack of a pitch, lack of a chaddi changing room, I will still put it into the roster. It will be there. Then somehow you will find and fight a way to give enough bribe towards the end of the game. And then you're like, no, this is definitely not considered a ground. It is just an area. So we're going to move to actual grounds. That's exactly what it looks like, because I felt like some of these centers were great Australia tour centers or England tour centers, but they go all the way to Nagpur and Hyderabad and everywhere else. And then here they come back and play in all the centers that's available. So I think it's just a round robin thing.
No, imagine this 2001, obviously that iconic test, India versus Australia in Kolkata, right? After that, obviously, Australia has come to India multiple times. How many times has Australia played at Kolkata? A test match?
Zero.
Zero.
Zero, right?
Zero.
Yeah.
It's amazing, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you would milk that cow till that cow dies, but like no, and after a while they don't care which venue is getting what. Like New Zealand have the last time they came here, Jas Patel obviously picked up a 10 for that was in
And they
Wankhede.
played first test.
And again they're
First test was
yeah.
Kanpur, that low scoring game where I think they just managed to save it by the 9th wicket partnership, right?
Yeah. So it's again going to be New Zealand at Wankhede, and I mean, I don't understand how this happens, but yeah, I mean, what Murli's guessing is supposed to be, or is probably the best answer to how we decide test venues. No other
I
good
do
answer.
have an economical anomaly that arises out of this. By definition, normally tests have cheaper tickets. I've seen over the 5 days that you have lesser amount of population coming in, especially those mid to day two, which will be the weekdays, Thursday types, will have significantly lesser population coming compared to ODIs, which are 95% packed. I've seen it's always packed. It's a lot more, and the ticket prices are significantly higher, and you pack it into a day. So even if they did want to rotate around, they have 1,000 white ball series that happens. ODIs, T20, T10, T5, everything they are calling the teams to do. Put those in those centers, let them make the money, whatever rights sells, they sell, etc. Holdings. In the tests, they can keep it to slightly higher, degree of competition.
At least the marquee ones like England and Australia, you have three of them in the traditional centers, and maybe you can give two or one of them to a new center, because okay, like a young kid in Kanpur also should be able to watch Australia play or play thing, right? I think to kind of spread it far and wide so thinly across venues where time and again you haven't seen crowds, which shows that they don't really care. They're just doing it because they have to do an obligation of hosting visiting teams, and that's pretty much it. Plus giving in to the flexing of the state bodies.
But the sad thing is that as venues, for me, the favorite, obviously, Chepauk is great because it's home. But the most interesting venues are actually Bombay and Calcutta, because your fast bowlers are never out of the game, right? So there is always something there, and you actually some of the most memorable spells of fast bowling we've seen have been in Bombay or in Calcutta, and it's a pity that Calcutta hasn't hosted more games.
Like on scheduling tests, like okay, just dipstick survey. Like I'm sure you guys would have seen Jay Shah's comments this week on not wanting to host pink ball tests because it finished in 2 to 3 days. But the sample size is so small, right? One is England in that pitch in Ahmedabad. And second was the game against Bangladesh in Calcutta, and we'll bring in our Calcutta expert Iman to speak about the last pink ball test which happened in Calcutta against Bangladesh. Iman, your thoughts? Should we have more pink ball tests in India? Jesha says no. What do you say?
Oh, pink ball. Sorry, pink ball was the test where Sami took a lot of wickets, right?
Correct. The pace, Shami, Ishant, yeah, all three of them. Yeah.
Yeah, it depends really on the opponents that we are playing. So we should get the option to choose which ball we should use. It could be black ball as well for few.
This is during the test match or before the test match? Like, can you mix it up during the test match?
During overs. Like you can really so it all depends. If it is Ashna, we should give that ping pong ball, the one which bounces a lot, because he needs that bounce. He's really a medium pace bowler with a lot of curl and a lot of, I would say, actions which is going behind the scenes for all the bowling that has to happen. So yeah, so I really think that we should, the choice of the ball should be determined by the bowler and only by the Indian team, basically, because Jaisha is running this right during the over.
No, I think the best solution is that Dharamshala, for example, doesn't have a changing room. So imagine a situation where you host a test in Dharamshala, nevertheless, without changing rooms, which means everybody is changing chaddis outside, right, on the ground. So before the batter comes to the crease, you check the color of his balls. If it is pink, then you bowl to him with pink balls. That's it. I think that would solve the problem.
How much? Yeah, depends on how the batsman is feeling at that point in time. If he's really tensed, you got to go with the blue ball, really, right? So yeah, it all depends, Dad. You don't just choose the ball based on what you feel. You look at some data. That's the situation at hand. and then you really choose the ball color. Anyway, so what
Remember the famous Australia obviously has this great tradition, which is more of having these placards in stadiums. So after the famous Muralidharan Daryl Hare incident, there was this placard which said, "Every man is tampers with his balls. Let Murli go, please."
The only thing is that, at least the balls for Murli were whatever color they were, but Daryl Hare's balls were probably hairy also.
Correct.
So.
The problem was that Daryl Hare said that Murli was no balling. That was the issue.
But the question is, can you tamper with your own balls without straightening the elbow? Like, is that a possibility?
Oh my God.
So what were you guys discussing by the way?
No,
before
so
I joined?
Iman, actually, we were talking about
Cricket.
we were bemoaning the fact that we don't play enough test matches in Calcutta. In spite of the fact that Calcutta has hosted such iconic test matches, they don't seem to get enough big test matches anymore.
Yeah, I think most of Calcutta's loss has come because of Ahmedabad's gains, right? Or mostly it is, Calcutta or Chennai who are losing out. I ideally think that we should not even think of not playing a test in Calcutta. Yeah, that's what it is. So one of these venues has to give way to Ahmedabad becoming the number one.
And also, I find it surprising that, with Ganguly was at the helm, he didn't use his muscle to kind of get more tests. Like when Jagu Dada was running things in BCCI, Calcutta got like a fair share of games, right? White ball, red ball, etc. When Dada was in the CAB and stuff, I don't know. I mean, given he was Dada, I'm not sure what he's done. Iman, what do you have to say about Ganguly?
This is where I don't like Dada at all. I think he just lost the plot with IPL. Test match or one days do not really get a lot of, budget or dollars into the CAB's coffins. So I don't think it really helps from dollar number. So Dada maybe didn't care about it. But that's where I think Dada has lost the plot completely. He could have done like really good stuff for Indian cricket, but he did zilch, like nothing. Kuch nahi kiya usne.
Hey, but I think the pink ball test at Calcutta against Bangladesh when we had it was Dada's tenure only when that test happened.
It was.
I think the other problem with hosting pink ball tests in India is the dew factor. Because the grounds get laced with very, very bad dew, and the SG pink ball test ball that was produced didn't respond well to the dew on the ground. At least that's what I remember. I don't know if that is the case, but that's why we don't have pink ball tests anymore, and I don't see how that's likely to change in the future.
And to be fair, only Australia plays pink ball tests with any regularity. I don't think any other country is playing, right?
Could actually be true. I don't remember anybody else hosting a pink ball test. There's been one in India, quite a few in Australia, of course.
India had two. One against England in Ahmedabad and then the one against Bangladesh in Calcutta.
Yeah. Other than that, maybe it's something that will remain a novelty, Australian Adelaide novelty.
That India versus England match where we used the pink ball, was it still like the spinners dominating or did...
Pretty much, yeah. Aksar's love affair with the stumps continued in that match also.
Yeah.
The way I don't think it lasted beyond 3 days. The way I was thinking about it is he used pink ball tests in India to make it like a fast bowling heaven. That could make test cricket a little more interesting. Like it is still interesting, but little different in terms of the fight, so to say. And I think we are in that phase of our life, at least with our fast bowlers, where we should really go for, winning tournaments just on our pace bowling skills. So
sorry, I forgot there was one more test, the India Sri Lanka in Bangalore. I think
that's what I was missing. Yeah,
the one where this fellow Dimut, I think, scored 100, right?
Yeah. And I think South Africa and New Zealand have also tried pink ball tests.
England and New Zealand have, but Adi's analysis is spot on because in the last 13 games since I think in the last 5 years, 9 have been in Australia. Only 4 games were non-Australia pink ball tests, even across the globe combined, out of which 2 were India, Chinnaswamy, and the other one.
I think the other host boards, apart from the big 3, are saying they were anyway losing a lot of money on test cricket. Additionally, now we're turning on the lights. We're going to lose even more money. Let's just, keep it as a
Leak a
day
bill.
game and lose money and, cut our losses. I think it's just pure electricity bill related issues.
No. So
And they also
I think it is poetic justice in the extreme that you have a test match between the West Indies and South Africa, and the ground is called Providence, basically.
Very good segue, Prashant, on that actual game. Thoughts on that?
I watched a lot of the day yesterday, and it's just one of those things, right? So obviously these guys, the West Indians, started off quite well. They seemed to be down and out for the count because the South Africans were leading by more than 200 runs with 5 wickets remaining. They took early wickets, and then they seemed to start off okay with the bat, and then by the time the test match ended, it was a pretty tame loss for them. Ultimately, the margin of victory was just 40 runs, but it's just like frustrating to watch these guys. They'll all play a few good shots, but they'll not be able to get Dane Pete away, and they'll keep defending against Mulder, and then he'll pick up a few wickets, and then they'll be loose outside the off stump. They'll defend some 30-40 balls and then play a rash kind of a stroke. So, I don't know. I mean, fans of a team like West Indies sort of go on from one match to another, but very hardcore to take in that experience as a fan when your team sort of gets into that sort of position and then just gives it all away so soon. So yeah, I mean, hard to watch, but hopefully they'll keep learning and they'll keep getting more matches against the better teams. That's all there is to it. South Africa obviously playing a test after a long time. They weren't much better than the West Indians, I thought. I mean, the batting or the bowling, but they were just able to get across the line finally.
On the contrary, I think West Indies should get matches with better teams. I think they really need to introspect. It is not about match practice. It is about basic skills missing in that team. They don't believe in themselves itself. So I really don't think we should be wasting time of the prime teams playing West Indies. Bullshit team hai wo. Like the moment West Indies is.
Why do you sound like the leader of the opposition after an election is lost, saying we have to
Because I just don't like the way West Indies is playing. And when Chopra becomes a little emotional about West Indies, oh, holder खेल रहा है, oh, क्या है holder? ऐसा बहुत लोग खेल रहा है भाई. ऐसा emotional होने की जरूरत नहीं है. Like they're not even doing the basic homework. आ गया खेलने के लिए 2 जूता पहन के मार्केट में उतर गया. अरे भाई नहीं चाहिए. Like West Indies really need to play, Scotland, Ireland, Bangladesh, Papua New Guinea, any of these teams, beat them. If West Indies plays a 5-match tournament against Ireland, do we think they'll beat them 5-0? I don't think so. Like anywhere, their ground or in Ireland or anywhere in the world, I don't think West Indies will be able to beat Ireland or for the matter Scotland. वो नहीं हरा सकते यार. So I really don't think West Indies needs to play better teams. It's like I am saying कि मैं cat अगर 10 बारी दूंगा तो मैं इंग्लिश में 99 परसेंटाइल ले आऊंगा. मैं नहीं ले सकता, मुझे आता ही नहीं ग्रामर. तो मैं कितना भी पर कैट दे दूं, it doesn't matter. Same with West Indies, यार. West Indies नहीं कर सकता.
They're in the contest for a good length of time, and then they somehow managed to throw it away. And Iman, not to forget that they actually beat Australia at the Gabba not that long ago.
That Bangladesh, I knew you would come to that. That Bangladesh also had beaten many teams time and again. वो Ireland ने England को भी हरा दिया. यार guys, हम one off की बातें कर रहे हैं. What is the generic consistency with West Indies? वो हारेगा. अगर वो किसी को हरा दिया, it's an upset, right? We only are telling कि upset है. अगर upset create करने वाले टीम है तो यार Scotland को भी उतना ही मौका दो, Afghanistan को भी उतना दो, Ireland को भी उतना ही मौका दो. Why West Indies? I don't think West Indies is any better than Afghanistan. Nor are they any better than Ireland. Nor are they any better than Scotland. तो मुझे लगता है कि उन लोग को वो वाला लीग में खेलना चाहिए, and hence they shouldn't be playing against any of these top teams. एक आध खेल लो ठीक है यार, मतलब for their budgetary reasons, that's fine. But
Iman, why are you taking an axe to nostalgia merchants? Now you're sounding like an Excel merchant. Very cold, clinical, logical analysis. Nostalgia की कोई बात.
हाँ, because Dada didn't do his job, so I'm trying to do his job.
Dada's job was to demote West Indies to associate team. They should have become associates. Rascals use Brian Lara and Clyde Lloyd's name to make them play regular teams.
What East Indian could not do to West Indies, another East Indian fellow is stepping up to the plate and doing. But yeah, I think Afghanistan is, by the way, going to play a test against New Zealand at Noida. Nitin's Sasural, they are going to play a test.
उसको तुमने नोएडा में खिला दिया. तुमने अफगानिस्तान को नोएडा भेज दिया यार खेलने. मतलब think about the irony यार. मतलब नोएडा भेज दिया यार उसको बेचारे को खेलने के लिए. यहाँ पे वेस्ट इंडीज जाके मेलबर्न का पता नहीं कहाँ खेल रहा है. और अफगानिस्तान नोएडा, गुरुग्राम, थोड़ा सा और मूड हो गया तो सोनीपत चला गया, कभी मन हुआ तो भिलाई पहुंच गया, थोड़ा और अच्छा लगा तो चलो यार तुमको धर्मशाला नहीं देंगे, तुम जाके जो है मनाली चले जाओ घूमने. तो ऐसा टाइप का सीन हो गया है. तो अफगानिस्तान ट्रीटिंग देम लाइक दैट, बट वेस्ट इंडीज इज गेटिंग बेस्ट ऑफ ग्राउंड, बेस्ट ऑफ ओपोनेंट्स. अजीब सा है.
Anything on Duleep Trophy you guys want to discuss?
Before Iman starts, I think Iman's favorite team is India D, which has K.S. Bharat as the lone wicketkeeper. So Iman is going to support India D all the way through.
Not Abhimanyu Ishwaran's team?
हाँ, वहाँ पे थोड़ा दिक्कत.
But I had divided loyalty. It's like a factor. He wants to support India D so that, I mean, K.S. Bharat in his full glory can really shine.
By the way, is Abhimanyu Ishwaran like this perpetual bridesmaid? Like, we keep hearing about him, but I've never seen him play in any game so far. But in all seriousness, like, what's that guy's story? Like, is he perpetually going to be in the probables and never really make it to even close to, taking any of the top spots? Or it's just too hard?
I think his time is up. Yeah, there's no time for him now.
So what? He can't replace Rohit once Rohit's done?
नहीं, Gill and
चला जाएगा. Jaiswal.
Gill, like if Rohit leaves, like Gill is currently playing at number 3 because Rohit है बोल के. But if Rohit is leaving, Gill will immediately move up to his favorite spot. Yeah, but everything aside, why is Mayank Agarwal playing Duleep Trophy?
I think Vamu justified on the group. No, he's one of the top run getters in the last domestic season. So maybe like a consolation prize that if you buy something for 8 rupees, then 2 rupees का वो chocolate मिल जाता है आखिरी में. So वैसा कुछ something they've given to him, I guess.
Yeah. हाँ, मतलब समझ में नहीं आया. Why is Jaddu also playing there? Siraj is playing there.
Jaddu's playing because Jesha has laid down the ultimate.
Yeah.
He has said that, I have told players that if they have to prove fitness, they have to play domestic cricket before they get eligible for international cricket selection. So,
unless of course there are Gujarat elections around the corner, in which case, of course, take your time and get well.
Yeah.
See you at the Gabba directly.
Hey, I think this one, Shreyas Iyer is one of the captains, no? Shreyas Iyer is captaining one of the teams, which marks
team
his...
Iman's team.
Oh, lovely. Iman's team. And this fellow, Ishan Kishan, is also back.
Yeah.
So guys, is Sai Sudarshan in any of the teams? A, B, C, D? No.
I had seen him, I think.
Indrajit Baba is there.
But no Sai Sudarshan.
Sai Sudarshan is in Team C, yeah.
Team C, awesome. So he's...
Ruturaj Gaikwads. Only Natarajan is not there, for which, of course, world champion opined Ashwin said that it's because he's not fit enough, so he's not been picked into this star-studded squads. But apart from that, decent amount of South Indian...
any decent left-armers in the squad? Because I don't see... what's his name?
Khalil.
Khalil is the only one.
विवेक कुमार माफिक मारेगा भाई, बहुत मारेगा. Like 10 के रन्स पर ओवर से पिटेगा वो टेस्ट मैच में, और कंसिस्टेंटली पिटेगा. ये नहीं कि 2 ओवर में 20 रन नहीं. He'll bowl 14 overs and he'll give 140 runs.
So this is actually not without precedent. I remember in 2001 Rahul Sangvi is very difficult to pick. And then Rahul Sangvi plays the first test and gets hammered out of sight by Gilchrist.
Yeah, he's difficult to pick in the team. Not as a bowler. He's easy to pick as a very difficult to pick. Rahul Sangvi. So I think punter is literally punting against us, saying, boss, Khalil is the future, send him, we'll thrash him properly. If Khalil bowls to head, my bet would be you'll hit him for 6 fours or maybe 4 fours and 2 6s in a test match.
This reminds me of that. PDP will know this. Prashant, there was this famous West Indian. I don't know if it was Viv Richards, where basically I tonked a bowler for 4 6s, and then he paused before the fifth ball, and the wicketkeeper asked him, "Why are you pausing?" He said, "No, I'm thinking if I should hit the next ball for a 4 or a 6."
I have not heard of that.
Yeah, it's somewhere in county cricket. I think it was Viv Richards. Yeah. So this might be the case with Khalil and Travis Head. Imagine that. Boxing Day test around the wicket, Khalil to Travis Head. Whew.
Guys, Pujara is traveling to BGT?
In what capacity?
Not even in the Pujara is gone. Not picked in India A, B, C, D, nothing. I think county cricket is going to be his home.
Even Jinx has not been taken, right? So I think they moved on from them.
Yeah.
Jinx is I think England is hosting some county cricket one-day tournament also at the same time. So Jinx and Prithvi Shaw are scoring big runs there. Obviously, the question that begs to be asked is who are the bowlers? But they're doing pretty well over there.
Hey,
that reminds me, number 5 is Sarfaraz, right? The last thing that we tested. He is now our go-to guy.
He's the incumbent.
Now,
yes,
right?
he's your incumbment. Yeah.
Good. I think he'll do something.
But just a thought on that. Now, like for Ishan Sharma and Umesh Yadav, I know they were like gently left to go into the sunset, but they never officially retired, right? I always find it's very strange in Indian cricket where you're just hanging on saying, maybe I'll get a call up, maybe. So I won't really officially retire. Let them do what they have to do. I'll leave the chance open. But don't you find it a bit strange? Like they're not played for quite some time now, like Ishant at least, but he's never officially said I'm retired from Test cricket at least.
And they are not part of the contract either, right?
No, they are not. No, they are not. But I think all it will take is for one of these foreign leagues to insist on an NOC, and then you will see an official retirement from them. I think.
DK. On that note, I think DK is going to play SA20. I don't know how that has happened because the last thing that I knew. But the last thing that I knew is that like you have to kind of retire from IPL also to play, or you have to retire from international cricket to then play.
DK is from Chennai. Chennai is Tala's hometown. Tala for a reason, boss. Rules, Jaya Bad mein. Anything is possible.
Jaya Bad mein. Bada
I think they're also going to have a new rule or like old rule renewed as a new rule, which is that Dhoni is going to be in CSK for the next IPL as an uncapped player because he retired so long ago that now he's going to be treated as an uncapped player. How amazing is that?
So basically it's because he grew his hair again. So he looks like how he did when he was uncapped.
Oh, nice. Again, difficult to pick, right? But not difficult to pick in the team.
But Chops, thoughts on Shams Mulani? He was, I think, the highest wicket taker for Bombay for a couple of years. And,
I think India's spin cupboard is quite bare after Jaddu and after Ashwin. Akshar obviously has...
After Kuldeep have a few years, right?
Akshar is definitely...
Akshar, I don't think he did quite well in the England series. I know only one series, but Akshar and Kuldeep are there. But like you expect India to have at least like 5 spinners raring to go for the vacant spots. But like you can bet your bottom dollar that if no spinners are available, it will be back to our Haryana man, Jayant Yadav, who will bowl his slow nothingness into the oblivion. That's the only backup spinner we have.
We have
but Shams Mulani, Jalat Saxena. Jalat Saxena is directly going to debut for India in the over 50s tournament now. I don't think he's ever going to be.
Why?
So, but Shams Mulani, I think
this one. If Anderson does it after 40, wow, so revolutionary. So Jalat Saxena does it, oh, gee, so desi. Why these double standards?
Hey, Jalat Saxena is getting IPL gig, what is there? He plays 1 or 2 IPL matches every year. So that's what Anderson is planning to do now after having dissed T20 leagues for all this. He's unemployed and obviously coaching is boring, right? I mean, Ben Stokes and McCullum are not going to give you too much by way of getting a word in. So he's now looking to play T20 leagues apparently. But Jalaj has got his fair share of IPL money, I think. I mean, obviously not what he would say he deserves. Either the random team, her season, one team picks him for sure. He's in that 30 squad or 28 squad or something. So I guess it's fine.
He has been the constant journeyman guy who just plays through this Ranji, makes some money, is happy eating his whatever vada pav and sleeping at home. I don't think he's the kind that is having major dreams and all. Maybe he'll play Legends League cricket for sure. After 50, I think he'll be one of those players who features as a 38-year-old in the over 50 game.
By the way, in Masters tournaments, do you have to fake your age to sound more higher than you are? The ulta of the saying 38 going on 50.
By the way, amongst
less than a minute to go, guys.
Yeah. Amongst cricketers who have not officially retired, Amit Mishra is also not officially retired, and he is also a spinner. He is also available, I suppose. Praveen Dambe as well.
Praveen Dambe.
If you start looking at people who didn't ever officially retire, Stuart Binney and all, we can take a whole list of players who came in and didn't say, okay, I want to officially retire. That list is a boring list of people. Ishant at least deserves some respect. He's done some things for us.
TV umpire to director, we have a player review. Can we rock and roll, please?